All right, folks. So I was looking for games, and I'm a bit surprised at how awesome this is. So I was looking for games, and I wanted to find the closest game that we could have at lower elo. And we found two players at 616 elo. They have the exact same elo. And Red, did you auto scout already? That might be waypoints. Anyways, they're both 16 elo, and they both have over 200 games in 1v1. So they're very experienced 600 elo players. In the red, we've got Chris Gabriel 87. And then in the blue, we have Sid 1032. Sid playing as the Mongols. Mongols, fantastic if you love your hunts. Sid has immediately slayed 3 goats underneath the DC. So loves to eat food, apparently. But yep, Mongols will utilize that hunt bonus on the ostrich and then the boars that are out there. And then the Burmese, they have stronger economy once they make it through the next ages because they get their wood upgrades for free. Also have some fun little military bonuses to talk about as well. I think at higher elos, Burmese are more awkward because of the weaker archer line, but lower elo is just not so good with archers in general, right? Like, I think mid elo archers become very strong. Players can micro a bit more. Players know how to use archers, but I feel like melee units like knights and champions, anything that you bunch up and just go into those big brawls, I think those tend to be the units that I see perform well at lower elo. And with all that said, I think the Burmese are pretty good in that regard. So not bad. Okay, so I think Red has an idea that the sheep have a slight decay after you kill it. This goes for any animal, by the way. Blue doesn't seem to have a clue. Or doesn't really seem to be bothered too much. Blue is not getting quite as much food as maybe they're hoping for from each sheep. Our game doesn't really make it that clear. I think they probably talk about it in the Art of War scenario. But again, it's just not a very easy thing to pick up on if you're not like paying attention to something like that or listening to someone like myself talk about it. And boom. All right. So boar has been eaten next, or is being eaten next to the house now, which would kind of make me angry. Like, I'm trying to take a nap in here midday, and then all of a sudden, there's a boar outside my door. I start to smell it. I get to hear these guys collecting the meat. That would be, be more respectful, honestly. Be more respectful. Also, I've talked about the houses and their doors a lot recently, but guys, look at the different door setups. You've got like the big door. I guess it's not technically a door, but you've got the big curtain, and you've got the more extended curtain. Very different. I like it. Okay. Blue. What's blue scouting look like? Sorry, I got sidetracked. Blue scouting looks very good so far. So well done there. And in the red, the scouting's looking like auto scout. Yep. So red did a little loop-de-loop around the base and said, it's time for me to auto scout. I guess this is boar number 2 for red. Okay, so red's only missing the 2 sheep here. So it could be worse. Blue going to bring the next boar in. And I think the original boar was meant to come underneath the town center, and it just didn't. This one was a little bit closer to that there. Blue's going to drop a mill on the berries, which you'd like to see. I'd love to see the lumber camp on the wood line. Red hates lumber camps. Red says lumber camps are not for me. And hey, never mind, Red is still going to chop all the straggler trees. And oh god, I just noticed this boar is still here. So, oh god, Red's having some big problems. Red's economy. Oh no. Okay, well, here's the thing. I'm getting a little anxious, okay? This definitely hurts me a bit. And some of you guys love it when the content creator's in pain. There's something sick within your minds. Every time I look at this, it brings me pain and it makes you guys laugh. But, like, my tip, okay, you don't have to pay attention to me. You do not have to play like me. I get it. Live your life, Chris. You played over 200 games. But if you want to auto-scout, as Blue is now doing as well, that's fine. But do it after you find everything, right? So you should, on most maps, it is berries, 2 boars. It should be 8 sheep. And then, you know, if you want to count the stone and gold, you can count the stone and gold as well. So in this case, you know, down 2 sheep, and then you're down a boar, and that's a lot of food you don't have right now. And so I don't know what Red's game plan necessarily was, but this certainly has set Red back a little bit. But, you know, I think it's going to be all good because Blue has gone to feudal age with 13 villagers, and there is such a thing as too fast of a feudal age. I don't know if Blue necessarily can take advantage of this with anything, but Blue is going to drop a mill here to take the hunt, which I like to see. And I actually think I was wrong. I think this is manual scouting from Blue. But the way it's moving makes me think it's auto scout. I don't know. I think it moves like that as well when you set waypoints. And Blue's just zoom. Man, look how fast that feudal age scout is. Just walking right through Red's town. It's like, wow, they got the curtains on their house too. That's cool. Boom. Just walking around. Sees the gold. Sees the stone. Again, it's probably set waypoints. It probably isn't looking at this to realize the sheep are there. And watch, this thing's going to come right to the south now. Next waypoint was where exactly? Hey, wow. Did Blue do that on purpose? Or is there just chance? Is that going right to the corner? Okay, Blue moves the sheep. Blue sees the boar. I believe the next waypoint is just heading towards the corner again. And whoa, wait a second. Hold on. How did I'm sorry. Okay, the capture age thing popped up. Yeah, Blue is manually scouting, which is pretty awesome. I like to see that. Now I screwed up the minimap. Oh, geez. Okay, there we go. That's better. Oh, look at Red. Red says, I don't need no boar, I don't need no sheep, but what I need is I need the middle. Because this map is called Golden Pit, and I'd be stupid to not try and control the pit. So we have an archer range in the mid, and a tower. And then we're going to have some stone being mined here as well for more towers, possibly. So it's always an interesting talking point of, like, how are you going to play this map? Some people will castle drop the middle. Other people will make army to control the middle. Some people will make a house with 10 villagers. I guess Red had forgotten a house, and good job from Red to think ahead now. Okay, so Blue's scouting has been more practical. Let's put it that way. Blue knows about the middle. Blue knows about the enemy, where the enemy's located. For Red, Red doesn't have a clue where the enemy's located, but the scout will eventually find it, I guess. Red is actually showing signs of fielding some military, though, which is cool. And obviously showing a plan on the long term here, and I think we could see more towers. All right, so we haven't seen many farms yet. Oh, God, wait a sec. All the berry villagers are coming over here. And all right, they're going to drop a mill to take the ostrich. Red is actually completely out of food income at the moment, so this is going to be well timed. We now have a stable for Blue, and eventually a blacksmith as well. But again, 0 farms, guys. We're 14 minutes into this game, and nobody has farmed yet. So Blue's probably thinking about it, because Blue just researched horse collar. Red's doing a smart thing here with the house walling between the woodlines, just to keep your main base safe. And Red's still no farms. Red's going to take the ostrich pretty quickly. Red also is making an archer now in the middle. There's an aspect of low elo legends that just, it makes me so happy. And it's probably not what, if you want to improve at the game, you should, it's probably not how you should think. But I just love it. And that outlook is, well, whatever happens, happens. I hope this works. Like, for example, Red hasn't scouted the enemy at all. And so if I was, like, on a voice call with Red, I'd be like, what happens if they attack you? And Red would probably be like, well, then I resign and then I just try another game. Like, there's a lot of crossing your fingers and being like, ooh, I really hope this guy doesn't do something. Because I'm not going to check. I'm not going to plan. I'm just, I'm just hoping. And, like, that's really cool. I really like that. Like, but also, you should probably try and scout and do all that stuff. But, people are going to say, well, the game's too hard, T90. Like, I can't do that, but I'm trying to do everything else. And actually, wait a second. Red can do it. And so red says, my scout's busy, so let me send an archer out. And ooh, scouted the blacksmith. Now red, this could be red just scouting the middle, honestly. Yeah, red's going to scout the middle. Man, blue's economy, though, is so much better. Unless red seeds a bunch of farms right now, blue's economy is incredible. At least when it comes to the farms, I didn't realize it's 22 villagers versus 29 right now. Yeah, red was just peeking to see, if the enemy has anything towards the mid. Red has a lot on stone. So that is pretty much the eco difference, all mining stone, but the stone is not really doing anything right now, which could be an issue. Okay, now the auto scout has made it down here. Blue is making scouts at the moment. The blue research bloodlines, which will give more HP to the scouts. Is going to make more scouts. We'll see how many that ends up being. Red sort of kind of farming now. Still... Oh, wow, even put archers inside the tower. Okay. At 5... make it 6 minutes of TC idle time for both players here. So it's pretty close. Both nearing Castle Age, but blue's going to click up to Castle Age faster. All because of the food eco. Did a great job transitioning into farms like we talked about. Like, the opportunity was there for red for a while, but red never really thought about it. Just having a bit more of an issue with balance, I guess. What's the plan for blue in the middle? I mean, honestly, I feel like 2 knights and all this dies. So knights could work. The scouts are obviously out already. I mean, the scouts could also decimate red's main eco. I'm really worried for red at the moment. Red's going to drop a stable in the middle. And red might not have, like, double-checked and tried to play this game based on what is seen in Blue's town. But pretty clearly, red is playing it based on the map. And so red's like, hey, this is my focus. And one of the smarter things you can do... Just passing. Oh, okay. Wow, blue noticed that. One of the smarter things you can do when there should be a lot of focus in one area is hit them at their own base. Because now, this might force red to react and send villagers, army away from the villagers in the middle and over here instead. And red's going to drop a tower here. Ooh. It's interesting how the tower is also kind of part of a wall, but blue comes in right to the wood line. Remember, blue scouted this earlier. And blue only sees 1 villager. And that villager's actually running. Okay, red, let's go. That villager will probably die. That'll be the 2nd villager killed by this raid. Now the tower's up. And blue doesn't really know how to react to this. Blue's like, can I fight underneath that? The answer is yes. The answer is most definitely yes, you can. Especially with forging now in. Blue killed 4 villagers. Towers are not so good against anything that's on a horse. But okay, Spearman's there. Red rings the bell now. Ding, 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 ding. Everything goes idle for a moment. However, if blue doesn't take the middle, red still has a very good chance in this game. Blue has tons of villagers in queue in that TC. I like that. Like, you're going to struggle at times to balance it. So my suggestion before you go into any attack is just queue up a bunch in there because you probably won't look at it, right? So just make it easier on yourself. Do it ahead of time. 2nd town center now for Sid. And the first thing that red does at the start of Castle Age is drop a castle here. And it could be a lot of castles, too. Wow. Red's base will obviously be pretty exposed. However, Burmese do get +1 attack on infantry per age. So it's now 3+2. That's nice. Nice to defend this area. And then the castle obviously locks down a pretty large portion of the middle area. And what can blue see now? Blue is clearly focused on the economy. Should have an awesome economy, which should lead to this being an awesome game, guys. Because that economy can only help you so much. if you eventually get starved of all the stone and gold. And speaking of, this 3-tile gold is one of the 3 of the 6 tiles that belongs to blue, and that's pretty close to the middle there. It'd be funny if red takes that boar now. Smart thinking from red. Red lost a villager here earlier who was probably going to wall, and maybe it would have been palisade walls at that time, but it's probably going to be stone walls now. And yep, placing the walls. Spearmen to protect. And now a town center in the middle for red. So red's been playing the objective. Playing the map. Blue could be playing Arabia. You know, this doesn't necessarily look to me like a player who has the biggest game plan for the middle. Hasn't really even checked that in a while. Now, guys, this gives me, this is a bit of a throwback for me. You guys tell me if there's anything similar that you did. So I used to play with Turks, Mongols, and Spanish a lot when I first started playing the game. And I used to love Light Cav because it's a unit that can raid and do damage, but it doesn't cost gold. Now, like at the higher level, I'm just like spend my gold, spend my gold, spend my gold, control the gold. But the way Blue's playing this is really smart because it's a unit that can do damage, but you're not wasting gold. And maybe that's Blue thinking about the map. Look at that too, sending the weak one in, looking around, now knows the opponent has a castle. Wow, this is an awesome game. More walls now for red. Blue's Light Cav sees this villager and will now attack. Can you imagine if red just went boom, quick wall, and just like somehow walled that Light Cav in out of nowhere? It's like great at quick walls, but struggles with everything else. Yeah, now the spearmen have to come over here to deal with this. But that one unit that only costs food kills 2 villagers just like that. Should end up dying here. If blue goes fast imp, will he still beat it? Well, I think what your game plan should be is kind of along the lines of what you mentioned. I don't know about fast imp. Fast imp implies lower economy, but dropping a castle here, or if you want to be extra safe, you could maybe drop it here, and then you can make trebuchets in the next stage. This map does give you enough gold where you can get to imp and then fight an early imp to take things back. Wow, now red's dropping a castle here. I think in red's mind, red's like, I'm going to have stone and gold forever, so I need to just protect what I can with buildings and walls. And is going to rely on those buildings and walls almost entirely. I feel like a player who keeps queuing up vills after getting to 50 vills will win. Well, so far it looks like both players are going to do that. So technically you're correct, because if they both do it, one of them is going to win. Unless this game goes on forever, which would be horrible. Great job from blue. Okay, gets housed again, but drops a bunch of houses. Realizes that's not that big of an issue. Monastery can be helpful to get relics. And a monk's going to be on the way. And then also the university can allow you to research important technologies. For me, know the location of the relics at the start of games, but red has scouted every single area of the map, so red kind of already knows that anyways. And guys, there is a big difference in what resources are being prioritized right now. Lots more food and wood right now for blue, and that's key. Food will come in a lot faster than stone and gold at this stage of the game, and it's a lot more important, I think. The longer the game goes, having a lot of gold is good. But in order to spend gold, in most situations, you're going to need food as well, right? Whether that's for upgrades or for the units themselves. Brr, brr. It makes the monks faster. Go, old man. Also, shout out to the Burmese cheap monk technologies. That's very cheap tech right there. And this guy's really going to pick it up. All right, this is me without caffeine when I first wake up. This is me after my coffee. Let's go. He's moving. Slightly concerned this monk is going to die, actually. So let's see. We're going to watch it from the monk's perspective. Here he goes. Uh-oh. Oh, there's another monk that goes down. Oh, no, run. There's a castle right there. Run, buddy. Oh, no, run. Run away. Archers, sacrifice yourself for him. No, isn't running fast enough. Oh, man. Wow, man. Monks sacrifice themselves for their god like no one else. Let's go. They didn't even have armor. They're just old men with a book and a little robe. How exposed they must feel. My goodness. Anyways, well, I'm sure we're going to have round 2 here in a second. Here comes another monk now. And is Blue making another monk? Yes! Blue is making another monk. This is amazing. But one is running faster because of fervor. And one is a slow, normal monk. Oh, wait. Blue, I think, is having second thoughts because of the castle. Okay, so he is wise, and he's going to come over here to get this relic instead. I think Red is going to end up getting this one. And there's going to be another castle for Red. And finally, Red's going to get relic number 1. Okay. I like how Red has set all these individual units on the relics. There's an archer here. There's 2 archers here. Obviously, we saw the archers and the spearmen on that relic. That's really smart thinking. Ooh, wait a second. Blue's going to go... Oh, man. Blue's going to try and ram this. This will get really interesting. Now, I like to... Oh, look at the idle TC time, guys. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. What? It's identical, man! What are the odds? It's crazy. Now, it'd be even crazier if they suddenly start producing villagers at the same time. They also both have 49 vills. And it's 15 military versus 14. Dang. But yeah, so let me spit this number out at you, and maybe it'll help you in the future. If you're going to use castle age rams to take out a castle, I'd suggest to have 5 rams minimum. Because they have military, you could still take out the castle with that. If you go in with a couple, it's going to be rough. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of 2. Okay. Blue is Mangadai, and Blue is really good blacksmith upgrades too, and Mangadai is a unit that Burmese really do not have a counter to. Red, however, does have murder holes, and Red is realizing as well that maybe some knights are needed. And so a couple melee units in here, and the ram should go down, like I said. But again, if that's 5, maybe there's a chance. There's just something to consider in the future. Blue forgot about Imperial Age, but also Red forgot about Imperial Age. They're very focused right now. But I feel like after that, Blue should say, Castle Age didn't work. Let's go up to Imp, and that's exactly what Blue does. And this is a worrisome time right now for Red. Because, like, Red, you might have the castles, but he has a castle as well, and he could treb you down. So you need to get your castles up, and then you need to get to the Imperial Age so you can make your own siege. And there we go. And the idle TC time only changed because Blue clicked up to the Imperial Age faster. This is a really good game. All right, so what should you be making as the Burmese? So, if I'm going to be honest with you, fully upgraded Elite Mangadai is just not a unit you counter. You just don't counter it. Not with the Burmese. Their skirmishers are too weak for that. Lacking the final armor is a problem. However, generally speaking, Halberdier, you can mix it with some skirms too, but like Halb and Cav is very strong. But definitely infantry is what you want. Now, infantry is always tough against a lot of archers, but against a lot of Cav, you could definitely, do a good job. Now, I don't know if Blue is trying to save stone for future castles in the middle, but Blue sure has a lot of stone for a player who only has 1 castle right now. Red's going to go longsword and pikeman. And also supplies in there as well, but man, this is going to be tricky. I think a lot of this comes down to when the trebs come out, where the trebs go, how they execute on that. The final relic is going to be brought in. That'll be relic number 3 for Red. It will be 3-2 in that regard, which is great for him. Blue's still a big fan of light cav right now. Red's still trying to catch up on upgrades and really doesn't have many blacksmith upgrades, which could be a problem. Supplies! 49 villagers for both again. The idle TZ time is still so close, man. This is awesome. The first thing blue does in the Imperial Age is go for trebuchets. This is perfect. On other maps, you can maybe wait a bit longer. On this map, you have to go for it right away. Here's the thing, like, red doesn't have anything to engage against trebs on this hill. And trebs in this area could take out most of these castles. Now, it still doesn't take red off of the gold in the middle, but I don't see red having a plan to really spend any of the resources right now. Look at the resources floating. They're both an imp, but look at how the resources are being spent a little bit more for blue. Lots more upgrades. Meanwhile, this gold, house gold's being spent. You're not spending gold. You're making skirmishers. And that might be back to that low elo approach, too. It's like, if your goal is to hoard the gold in the middle, players will think, maybe I won't spend gold because my win condition is to have more gold in the bank, right? So I won't spend it. In reality, when you're in control of it, you want to use that gold to fund controlling it for the rest of the game. Oh, man, one blacksmith upgrade for Chris is a problem. 200 games, guys. 200 games, and I can see it because Chris clearly has a lot of knowledge on how to play the game in many ways. The walling is really smart. I think Chris has been raided to death at home one too many times. And now Chris is going to fall back, and Chris is going to drop another castle. So it's just assuming this one's going to go down. And assumes correctly there. Now, where's the bomber cannon coming from? Oh, that's interesting. I actually forgot Burmese got bomber cannon. And that's a great tool to wheel in here and try and take out the trebs from range. Here come the light cav. Mongols have more HP on their light calves, so 98 HP. Here comes the bomber cannon. Blue ran in there, and now Blue's still thinking, I need to protect my siege. And Blue sees that immediately, and I think Red will end up losing that bomber cannon without taking the treb. And that's expensive. It was a great idea, though. Like, that Halb bomber cannon would be a really nice choice. But Red, you're struggling for numbers right now. Catching up on more upgrades. Blue obviously still needs to muster up the courage to push forward again. Getting interesting. Now, just moments ago, Red lost the barracks on the front. And Red lost the castle, which was right next to where this barracks is. So, you know, it's a small thing, but in reality, it's like one of the more important things of the game right now for Red. You really need to get your buildings behind your castles. Is pumping out a lot of villagers, and someone had said whoever goes above 50 villagers wins. Red's still sending lots of villagers to the middle. Red's going to drop another siege workshop here. Did instantly Q pikemen out of this barracks after it was completed. So I like how there's more urgency now. Blue's still waiting. Being very patient about all this. But is starting to run low on gold. Now, this may come as a big surprise to you guys, but I think Blue is going to treb down the siege workshop. That's where the castle was. Or maybe the focus will be on the castle. Let's see. There's a bomber cannon there. And the bomber cannon sees the trebs. Now, unfortunately, it might chase the trebs, and Blue noticed that. Or Red noticed that, sorry. Monk's also healing up the light cab before what could be the final battle in the game. And the trebs are on this side, and Blue's a beast. Blue's a beast. Blue's going to go in to take the bomber cannon now. The murder holes is in. Bodkin arrow's in. But that's going to be a kill. What a great job from Blue. Also, didn't send the whole army, too. Wow, that was impressive. But, like, seems very aware that it's all about fighting and pushing the middle now. And I don't know if Red's too caught up on creating villagers or what, but Red just isn't spending the resources quite as fast here. That was a great job from Blue. It was cool to see that. You don't see that every day, right? Stable's been producing light cap pretty much non-stop. We're going to see another castle for Red, whose strategy was all about hoarding that stone, building up the castles. And Blue's strategy here is to push this back. And man, Blue's unit control is awesome. Blue's unit control is top tier. Yeah, like upgrades, military control. I mean, blue's insane. These villagers though are gonna wander directly into the castle fire, and I don't think blue knows about that. And guys, that is because blue is now officially out of gold to mine. So it's still very winnable for red because red has so many vills. There's the pros and cons of Age of Empires. One player looks like they have amazing micro because that's all they're doing. Blue hasn't been producing vills for a while. The other player looks like they have amazing macro because that's all they're doing. So yeah, the goal is to be able to do everything at once, but they can't quite do that. But red's like, I could maybe hold this, and red's going to make more bomber cannons. So blue needs to continue a bit of a push. Otherwise, there might be regret here. Roko says, hi T90, if I play a game now, will you cast me? I'm going to say no, because if I say yes to you, I have to say yes to everybody. But of course, there's always technically a chance. Another castle right now for blue. I like this castle spot. And the Trebs now roll in, and here comes the support. Red's only going for bombard cannons. That's it. No support for the bombard cannons. I think red's gonna have problems. I mean, there's more bombard cannons out now, but blue just waits. Blue sees a bombard cannon, and blue pounces on a bombard cannon like it's nothing. Boom. This castle is gonna go down for red. Let's see if red makes another one. Red's whole strategy is falling apart, and boom, there's another castle. I would like to reiterate my point here. Bomber cannon's actually a great addition. However, you've got to have something combined with it. And I think with the Burmese, it would make more sense to maybe do halberdier. So we've got villagers making a castle here from blue, who saved that stone. Blue is a mastermind. Saved the stone, slowly creeping into the middle. And now, Mastermind not paying attention for a second, and Chris says, get out of here. This is my land. Boom, treble go down, and blue could maybe lose this castle as well. So blue, you've got to be careful. Red, for the love of God, though, make more barracks and make something in support, please. And red's now doing it. Gotta like how these villagers are like, okay, maybe we should leave. Actually, no, I think they're going to continue to mine that stone and just die there. Halb's on the way. And now red suddenly, out of nowhere, just kicks it up a notch with production. Wow, this is a great game. This is an awesome game. Again, red stonewall at home. And red now realizes I lose this game if I don't have more barracks, is dropping the barracks, and it finally has a good queue going. Guys, blue has 100 gold. That's it. Also, the idle TC time is still very close somehow. Okay. Mangadai are going to run in close to the castle fire. What they want is they want to kill the bomber cannons. All red wants, though, is to take out the Trebs. And one bomber cannon's going to go down. Second one's going to go down. All at the cost of, wow, 0 Trebs. Blue didn't lose a Treb yet. This one could go down, though. There's a Treb over here. Still really tough for red to get that queue of Halbs going. And as I mentioned before, like, there's not a lot that Burmese can really do against Mangadai. Mangadai do also have a bonus against Siege, and you're seeing that there, and the Treb goes down, and Chris rings the bell. But blue continues this dominant push with 45 army, and I think it's looking slim now for red, because even red doesn't have that much gold. Bomber cannons are more expensive than Trebs. And more bomber cannons go down. Been a close game. The population's still pretty even. But, I mean, blue could take more of the stone and gold in the middle than red can. Now, here's my tip. Like, in these moments, because it's really high-pressure stuff, grab, if you have a lot of wood or food or whatever, just grab those vills and make a mining camp on the gold. Because you might get pushed back, and you want to take as much as you can while you can. We have production buildings still being the talking point here for red, right? You've got one archer range making skirms. Like, every time red makes more buildings, red makes it somewhere where blue can treb it down. It's probably just where red's focus is, so, like, it's hard for red to think about that, and it's one of those things I think you do have to learn the hard way. The Woodru's getting shredded. Castle will get destroyed. These 8 Mangadai have 34 kills, guys. And, oh, wow, okay, now we're going to have archer ranges here from red. Now, I mean, you don't have to be too worried about skirmishers if you're blue, because... Oh, boy, Mangadai. Oh, geez. That hurts. That hurts a lot. But anyways, you have the light cap, and light cap are pretty good against the skirms. It's kind of funny now that we're seeing a switch into skirms. Yeah, I guess red doesn't see the light cap. Or no, red sees him, but red's just thinking I need something else. But yeah, now there's not even many Mangadai out, so it's actually more so Halberdier that's going to be needed now. Yeah, what's up, Tom? Welcome. Glad you could make it. There's going to be a lot of skirms from this right corner, but I don't know, man. The resources aren't really there right now for Chris. Absolutely love how methodical blue has been in this game, though, with the castles. Like, I feel like a lot of players would have wanted to spend the stone right away. But on this map, you absolutely need to lock down the middle. And so blue waited until the time was right to drop these castles. And again, like, the only big thing now is just not mining the gold all the time, but I think blue's slowly getting to that. We're going to have a big old skirm ball from red eventually. Red's currently sending the skirms into this castle, actually. And red's catching up on some HP upgrades. Getting architecture, even. But you can tell what's going through red's mind. Red is like, okay, what upgrades am I missing? Like, upgrade check. Let's get architecture, let's get eco, and let's get blacksmith upgrades. So just kind of cycle through some buildings there. Will blue actually continue this push towards the middle? Got a little distracted by this side base. It really needs to try and take red out of the middle right here. Skirms. It would be hilarious to see a skirm raid. That's something you see every day. Skirms are very much out of position right now. Red's got a 27 villager lead. The military count spiking. But you can see the desperation. And look at the skirms. Here we come! They came out one by one as well. Now blue says, it's my time. Here I am with the light cap. Great game knowledge from both these two. However, the treb stays up. The treb stays up, and all those skirms are going to go down. And how many bomber cannons did red lose in this game? Okay, red, nifty little move into the TC. Now they're just out of their TC, and they're about to die, though. You can garrison all you want there, but the light cap are all over you. And guys, I think we're about to see the GG call. We have Siege Ram coming out from blue as well. Light cav are dominating the middle. More skirmishers on the way from red. Where are they being created? Oh, they're being created over here and here. Skirm is already shown to be kind of a weak unit right now. And there's another bombard cannon. And Sid says, hey, that's mine, buddy. Thank you very much. Bam. Must be so satisfying. Like, playing as Mongols against civilizations like Burmese, and just getting to Mongols late game in general is just such a satisfying feeling. Because they generally have a very strong Dark Age and early feudal, but then in the mid game, they're not quite as exciting. The correct time to get architecture is when you're floating resources and you feel like extra HP would be helpful. So there are situations in a Treb War, let's say, where you want to prioritize that really early. Otherwise, though, if you're not being attacked, your buildings aren't being destroyed, I would say get it if you can afford it. Well, I was hoping we'd see drill. A drill means the Mongol siege is speedy, but we've still just got siege rams, and siege rams are going to be enough here. push this back. And I was going to say choo choo, but I'll say it anyways, as the trebuchet has to roll away. The Lycab and the Mangudai push in. And Treb goes down for Chris, and I think Chris has no clue what to do. Does have skirms. But I think the castle will go down. The castle will go down. The buildings will go down, and Blue will have the middle. And this is a player who didn't have the middle for so long. Red had like 6 castles in this game, but just overextended. Relied on the castles a little too much. Didn't rely on the military count quite as much, and obviously I think the type of military at times has been a little questionable due to the Civ as well. Yeah, it's always good to have, like getting the HP technologies is always a good habit to have. But only prioritize doing that over other things if it makes sense in the moment because they're trying to take out your buildings. But otherwise, I mean, if you can afford it, just, yeah, always get it. Because you never know. I mean, people are in late game are going to be trying to take out your buildings in some way. Red's not finished. Red's going to drop a castle here, and it's going to be castle drop skirmisher push. And Blue has Hussar now. 118 HP on these Hussars. These things take like 1 damage a hit from the skirms. So, but it is something. I mean, I do always say try and distract the opponent from the middle if you don't have access to the middle. Man, where were these archer ranges, Red? Like, where were the barracks? Like, there were so many buildings that were built beneath the trebuchets. Again, it's something you have to learn the hard way. Because Red clearly got to the point and said, I need production buildings. But never thought, oh, maybe let's not build them in that location. Okay, Town Bell has been rung by Blue, which is kind of funny. It's just going to bring villagers towards this TC where the skirmishers are right now. Red realized ballistics wasn't in, which is pretty cool pickup. He's going to get that now. And now it's like, oh, crap, I didn't get upgrades. And it's going to get those upgrades. Hussars are going to arrive, though. And, you know, again, as I stated, Hussars very good against skirms. Blue's got a massive ball. Even repairing the ram. Repairing the ram there in the middle. Plenty of stone, plenty of gold. Skirm push, let's go! Still have 2 bomber cannons over here. I mean, that could be an idea to maybe push. I don't know. We've got a ram coming over here, but who needs a ram when you can just use skirmishers to take out TCs? And someone just said, I think this game's going to go forever. No, I disagree, unless our definitions of forever are very different. I think this is going to be very quick. I think from this point, Blue will bring the Hussars in with some rams and push us all back. That's what should happen, right? Like, that should be your next play. Either that, or you go directly to Red's base. Like, Red's base is wide open. So, what's funny is Blue never made a second stable until this moment. And yet, Blue has had so many light cap. Look at this, even healing up right now. But, like, I bring that up because Red made the buildings but didn't produce. And then Blue had 1 building but always produced. And I guess it's better to always produce out of 1 building than it is to have multiple and not produce. Ideally, you have multiple and you produce. Like Red is now doing with the skirms. We have herbal medicine right now for Blue. So Blue is trying to heal up units. Herbal medicine is like, I think it increases the healing rate when you're within buildings by 4 times. It's really fast. It's definitely worth it. I wouldn't say it's worth it with food units, but with gold units, it definitely is. There's a lot of Mangudai in this castle. There'll eventually be elite Mangudai as well. Is it 6 times? Well, I remember it used to be something, and then only like a few players researched it. And I think that the general consensus was that it wasn't really that worth it. I mean, if anything, I feel like it's too worth it now. Like, it's a must-have in a lot of situations because it's so fast. I'm not going to be out here asking the devs to nerf it or anything. Yeah, it is very strong. Look at this, the starting scout from Blue. This is the starting scout. It was just sitting over here to our right for a long time. Let's go. Let's go. It's going to take out the Treb as well, so the castle will actually stay up because the starting scout. All right, double castle fire should do a lot of damage against these hussars, as we finally have elite Mangudai coming in right now for blue. But is sitting on so many resources, right? Loves the idea of healing up hussars, apparently. Is producing out of 3 stables now, so should get to a lot more. Red is going to continue to try, because like in Red's mind, Red's main base hasn't been attacked yet, and Red has actually done a little bit of damage here. But I think Red is just also fighting because the opponent hasn't really applied the finishing blow yet. It's pretty niche. You would usually prefer your units to be fighting than hiding in buildings, I guess. Yeah, but it is good, like, in situations where you have a lot of weak knights or weak cavalier heading up towards imp or something, or in imp, it's very strong. I forget the cost of it. I know it's not the cheapest. I think it's like 300 gold or something. It was 4 times before the buff? Okay, and now it's six times. Gotcha. That's why I always say 4 times, is because I just remember what it used to be. But I wish I could go back with the knowledge I have now and see if I felt like 4 times was good. Because it still seems pretty good. 6 times is just, like, insane. I use herbal medicine while imping, especially all those expos that were wrecked by mangoes. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a practical use for military at that present moment, and you have extra gold, I think it's worth it. But I think it's more worth it with high HP units. Healing up crossbows, which have such low HP anyways, isn't as high priority as healing up a bunch of knights, which have 120 HP. Because you can effectively gain, in the best or worst case scenario, depending on how you look at it, like, you know, 119 HP a knight. Okay, another castle here from blue. Blue's gonna go in with 1 ram. I was saying that last night I was watching some old, like, Loey the Legend videos because I couldn't sleep. I just wanted to relive some moments. And I was watching the Holy Ram. The Holy Ram was such a good laugh, man. Alright. Well, it's just 1 ram. And, I don't know, maybe you needed more there, blue. Or maybe that was the distraction, guys. I think that was the distraction. Got the hiccups all of a sudden. Not a fan of that. It definitely feels like Red is trying to build up a little bit of a push. Also, still has gold here that can be taken. It says Red is on gold. Whoa, Red didn't have any of that gold. Wow, so okay. I kind of forgot that Red had both those golds because Red had only focused on the middle. Red could have maybe mounted a little bit of a comeback then. But yeah, this side push is going to get cleared up. And then blue is here, and oh, Red is doing such a good thing. Red is trying so hard, but while the idea is sound, the execution just isn't there because there's no army support. And now you can see Red's like, crap, I needed skirmishers. Yeah, the idea was distract on one side and then push on the other, but blue already had military over there. T90 has to be the only person who can't sleep while watching T90 videos. I mean, I have fallen asleep to my own videos before, for sure. I don't do it as much these days, but like 3-4 years ago, probably like 4 years ago, I used to listen to my own videos a lot to try and like think about what I could have done differently, think about like what was well received, what I could change here or there. I also lived alone, so like I feel like, I mean, I definitely pull up my own videos as I'm working on them, or to watch moments back from time to time now too, but like, even though she loves me to death and I love her to death, it would feel a lot more weird to do it now that I have someone in the house. Yeah, 69 eco for both, but these skirms, I think, were trying to loop on home to group up with their friends who are going to try and push the middle again, and they ran right through the castle fire. Look at that KD for blue right now. Narcissist 90. I think being a narcissist would be like, oh my god, that sounds so good. It's definitely took some getting used to, listening to myself speak. Because have you guys ever heard your own voice after the fact? Like the way you sound within your own head is different, at least for me anyways, is different from how I sound when I speak. And I imagine it's not extremely common for the average individual to have recordings of their own voice. But it definitely takes some getting used to, or took some getting used to. I mean, the resources are still there for red. Blue hasn't found this side base, which is funny. I mean, there's some possibilities, perhaps. But it's still, it's just like, blue just needs to put the foot on the gas, go for some more siege, go for some more hussars. Blue's going to run in with Mang and I, pick off some villagers. We have the town bell rung. Skirmishers will likely chase that down. And, yeah, Blue's going to run through, and there's actually nowhere to do damage. Because after the town bell, everybody seems to be inside of a building here. My voice is really attractive until I hear myself in a recording. Yeah, it's also like, have you ever felt like you're an amazing singer? And then you record it, and then you're like, oh, God, oh, jeez. I remember in middle school, I wrote a song for a girl I had a crush on. I put it on a cassette tape, because we had a cassette recorder. I actually remember the lyrics. Oh, God, it's so cringe. Anyways, apologies to Brittany for having to listen to that. But yeah, I remember I thought it would sound amazing, and then it sounded horrible. That was my first lesson when I was like, I don't know, 10. Anyways, it feels like this could come to a close now. The Hussars are mopping up the skirms. We've got Hussar Ram now on this side. Yeah, it's like when you're singing in the car. Because in the car, you have the music blasted loud, so you think you're hitting every note. And then even just shutting off or lowering the music, you realize how bad you sound. We need to hear the lyrics. No, it was like, I only knew 3 chords in the guitar, and I just kept spamming the 3 chords, and they didn't really even fit. But those are the only 3 chords I knew. And it was like something, something, I will always love you, something, something. Oh, so bad. I hope the tape doesn't exist. If the tape does exist, my parents might find it, though, because they're clearing out their house as they're selling our childhood home. So I think that if they give me a call and say that there's a tape, we might need to do, like, some type of goal for that. Because, oh, God knows, I haven't listened to that thing in, like, I don't know how old I was, so maybe 15, 20 years? So, it was funny is I remember, so okay, so story time. I haven't thought about this in a long time. So as Red refuses to quit, and maybe Red still has a slight chance, but like, I refuse to think that Red could do this. Anyways, so again, it was like middle school. I was in like 6th grade. How old is someone in 6th grade? 13? That sounds about right. 13, 14? Anyways, so you know how it is when you're young. It's like, oh, this is the love of my life. Oh, this matters so much. So I wrote this beautiful song, and I don't know if it had anything to do with the song, but like, I don't know, a month later, 3 weeks later, she broke up with me. Now again, we're in like middle school, so it was just like, she just like progressively stopped hanging out with me, and I realized she didn't like me anymore, and I got very sad. So this dude down the street, I lived in a small town. This dude down the street was then like her boyfriend, and I was friends with that dude. I used to play video games with him after school, and I remember like being really upset with him, upset with the situation, because I was young and it was a dramatic thing. And I wrote a beautiful song, obviously. I mean, like, come on, did he do that? Guess what? I looked him up recently. They're married. That's right. They're married. So I scared this woman away so much, or so quickly, or so with such precision that I scared her right into her husband. So yeah, that's right. She ran away and found the one right down the street from me. Look at Blue. Blue's like, I think Blue's enjoying the side attacks. I mean, it's not a bad strat, but Blue is Yeah, prepping some stuff over here and now going this way as well. The Red Archer has something to say about it, though. Red Archer is not happy. Red Archer is now going to die. Was this guy's name Kevin? No. This is not a Kevin. So he basically made them fall in love. I had a really... So I'm really in a good spot now. Like, I've definitely found the one. Can't believe I did. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to get sappy. Blah, blah, blah. But for a while there, I had a really crazy streak where whether it was from middle school into high school, college, adult life, whatever, anytime someone broke up with me or I broke up with them, they would immediately find their person. It was a really depressing streak when I was single. Like, I think like 6 people, I broke up with them, they broke up with me, boom, next person, married. It was a really, really sad streak for a while. By the way, Red is making a push for this. Red might be able to do this. I gotta shut up with these stories. Is Red actually gonna do this? Blue's going for the rinky-dinky little side attack, but Blue's like, yo, I've got skirms, I've got halbs, I've got trebs, and I wrote you a song, Blue, and that song is Get Off of the Middle. It's a really aggressive death song, and look at Blue freak out. Blue is ringing the town bell. Blue's Mangudai are popping out of the castles. Oh my god, Blue can't believe this is happening right now. This is awesome. This is awesome. Also, Chris still has a little side base over here which could lead to some type of raid, you never know. But like the worry for Red was no gold, but Red was somehow able to take what gold he started with because he had only relied on the gold in the middle, and it's 160 pop versus 130 right now. How production's there. The skirm production's there. The other thing that Mongols could be focusing on, and you could say should be focusing on, is something like Onager and Siege Onager with these resources. But Blue is still mainly focused as Red clicks the Trebs, which is a big mistake. But Blue is still mainly focused on Mangudai and Lightcap. If you lose your castles, though, guys, you cannot make any more Mangudai. And if you cannot make many more Mangudai, Halbs would be the answer to the Lightcap, or the Hussars, I guess. Now you can see how fast these skirmishers die to the Mangudai because they lack the armor. But they are still getting some kills, which is nice. And Blue is frozen at the moment. Now, Blue really wanted to go for a side raid, and still could. But man, what a game. All the skirms got cleared up. Red's got more skirms on the way. Blue really needs to take out these trebuchets right now. These trebs are not protected by the halbs. Red is caught out of position over here, so isn't able to protect these things. But both players overwhelmed with the situation, and I'm sure Blue with these resources is probably thinking, or has been thinking, I've got this game won. And I did as well, which is why I was telling stories. This is wild, man. This is an awesome fight from both. And, like, this is something that Blue has clearly forgotten about. But, okay. Blue might take out the Trebs, but Blue is losing Mangudai. And Blue only has 2 castles. Oh, excuse me. 3 castles to produce Mangudai. I mean, 3 castles is still really good. And also has stone for more. That said, these Mangudai have now been cleared, or will be cleared if Red continues to fight. And Blue could be up against it with more siege coming forward from Red soon. We'll see. Feels like a good time for Blue. Like, it would actually be good for Blue to lose this army or forget about this army, because the second that happens, then Blue can go over here again. Like, in Blue's mind, I think Blue's forgotten about a lot of things because of the stress of the situation. So things need to settle down here, and then Blue can look over here. And it would do a lot of damage to Red. And then distract Red as well from the middle. But, like, you both have to be thinking middle right now. Like, that's got to be the priority. Will it happen? We'll see. I think we might see Blue loop and treb this down in a second. This is an awesome game, guys. And I know, like, it's very easy to say, like, oh, man, oh, there's so many resources. But I'll be honest, like, I feel like for every person that says that, there's another person out there saying it who has died with 5,000 gold in the bank before. You know, it just happens. especially on a map with all this gold when there's so much pressure all the time. Fairly open map as well. We're going to see another castle from blue, who I think wisely is going to place the castle up towards the hill. And is now back to producing some cav. And just loves to go over here and use these stables. Alright, blue's thinking about a little ram rush. There's 67 skirms on the map for red. There's so many skirms. And has trebs in the middle as well. Also has halps just waiting for cav. Okay, so I think the hussars saw the bombard cannon and were clicked over to that. Blue did a great job this game sniping bombard cannons. That continues to be the theme. Isn't going after the wall, though. And is probably... Oh, no way! Probably has looked over here. Now, I guess if you lose the middle with 10k gold in the bank, it's not as bad, but you still have 20-some vills here that could die. And then you'd only be working off of 40 vills. Okay, so blue says, it's my time. It's my time, and it's now or never. Alright. I could have continued that, but I'm going to spare you guys. The hussars, I think, were clicked to the house or trying to get through to get something. They're going to get chewed up by the halbs. The push continues. Now, what would be awesome from red is if red could buy stone right now and drop a castle right next to the trebs. I think red might overextend with the trebs. We have stables now from red. And a nice little neat line. You got to love that amongst the chaos. And blue has 4 trebs on the hill, or 3, excuse me, trying to treb down these trebs. And is also massing hussars here to try and deal with this. And is also going to repair as well. So gets one of them. Might get the next one. What is this game? Man, red sheer production has brought him back into the game. Dang. Let's see if red can continue to push this area. As skirms on this side. As a bombard cannon, blue's going to hop out and go for the bombard cannon. Should get it, no problem. Also should get the treb as well. And just needs a little bit of luck here. A little bit of luck here. Boom, got it. Oh my god, like, blue... You need to queue out of more than just that one stable. Like, that is such a big deal right now. And maybe get these trebs out of here. I love how we got to see red learn lessons in this game. Like, it's such a lovely game to show the progression of what went wrong, what went right, and how should we let that affect the rest of this game. And... there were some frustrating things, too. You know, I read my comments on YouTube, and people are just like, hey, I can't watch this. That's frustrating. Why did red keep building the production buildings underneath the treb fire? Because it's easy for us. We're not in the midst of this battle. You know, these guys probably worked like 8 hours, walked their dog, had to cook dinner, and then they're trying to have some fun. And they're also Loey the Legends, so things are not going to be perfect. But red figured it out, man. And red would have... so many people would have resigned as well. Having lost the middle after building so many castles earlier. Now, we are starting to see a little bit of trickling from red. But red has the middle, so I'm okay with that. I say trickling with 1 treb at a time. Probably not a recipe for success. But, again, as long as you're going to have the gold, I'm more okay with that. We see 1 treb go down. We'll see the next treb go down. Mangadai are insane against siege. Blue could probably back away a little bit now to the castle fire if they'd like. Guys, we've got 40 villagers against 60 villagers at the moment. But, like, I'm trying to think of working eco. 8 and 8 here. And then 24 and 11. And I guess there are villagers for red that are now going to work on gold. This corner has ended up being very important as we have Halda. And I don't know how the heck red thinks he's going to use that without elephants, but it does give extra armor to your elephants. But who needs elephants when you can just make Burmese skirmishers? Blue has the cav in queue. But it's only, now it's 2 stables out of the, 6 or so stables that are here. Another bomber cannon shoots a Treb. Treb actually survives on 5 HP. Red here with another trebuchet, not really allowing blue to rest. Lots of production all the time. Villagers run this way to repair the Treb. This Treb will now be needed against these Trebs. Blue, oh, is blue actually going to side attack? Oh, it's such a great decision right now. Because this is a deadly ball of trash that is really hard to engage against. The Mangudai pop out. Desperation. Elite Mangudai. 1 Treb's down. The next Treb. Get it quick. Get it quick. Boom. Castle stays up. It was 1 hit away from going down. Blue, go for the ram rush. Red used to have halbs here. Red doesn't see any of that. Actually, I'm wrong. Sorry. Red has probably seen that for the last 20 minutes. Just hasn't noticed. But again, there was like 20 halbs here before, and they got pulled to the middle. All Red's relying on, well, not all, but most of what Red's relying on is skirms at the moment. Okay, Red's point of view. Can you imagine if Red got housed because of this rush? And how, if that could affect things in the middle, that would be pretty freaking awesome. We've got Trebs waiting. Castle's being repaired. We do have some Cavalier instantly produced here, though. That'll be helpful with taking out the Rams. But it is a little bit of a distraction, too. We can't forget that. And the Hussars are actually trading quite well against these things because of all the HP for the Mongol Hussars. Now, skirms against a castle would have been a really bad idea. Unless you see it's on like 5 HP. You don't want to lose 30 population to try and get a castle. You can do that to confirm you get the castle. That's not something at this elo that I would suggest you attempt. Alright, blue wisely backs away now. Because red has now dealt with this. And could look at this and say, wow, red sent a lot home. Let's push middle now. Oh my god. This is amazing. This is potentially the best Golden Pit game I've ever seen at low elo. The timing was perfect. Now blue's on top of it. Blue is an absolute beast. And one of those true trebs goes down. Red does have units inside this castle. But red's going to lose the next trebuchet as well. Wait, blue, go after the castle. Go after the castle. Okay, Treb goes down. Mangudai now go down. Red's like, crap, I got to get all this military here now. There's still gold left in the middle, but pretty soon no one's going to be able to take it. This is awesome. Keep in mind, blue's Vil count has been really rough for a while now. And like, I don't think either player has gone over 15 farms this entire game. Dang. I mean, again, great job from blue. Blue now backs away. Blue is going to make more Mangudai and probably some more Hussars, I'm sure. And red now is going to send the halbs here. So paying attention here, notices this, will kill this. Blue now running, though. And I guess red maybe wants to wall that up as well. This has been a long game, but it has been a really fun game. There was that 20-minute period where I did tell a couple stories because I thought the game was over. But man, this has been back and forth the whole time. Clearly, like, red is somewhat experienced on this. I know that red has had had struggles at times, and so has blue. But like, to be in this with the Burmese against the Mongols is something else. Yeah, who are you rooting for? We have someone rooting for blue in the chat right now. I'm kind of rooting for red just because red had brought this game back from the dead. But also, I feel like I should root for blue because I would just feel bad for a player who would lose from the position that blue had earlier. But then again, how else are you going to learn? Yes. 1 minute pause, please, says blue. It has been a long game. Red says, okay. And now we have a pause. Okay, so sometimes when I cast Low the Legends, I'm like 10 or 15 minutes behind live time. This game has been live the entire time. So blue's got to go pee. Got to go tell mom that, sorry, I haven't finished yet. This guy, he's too stubborn. He won't resign. Burmese skirmishers are overpowered. I don't know what's happening. But I like the respect. Red probably needs the break as well. And hopefully when that unpause happens, that everything works out on our end. Because now I'm nervous. Because there was a bug in the past where it wouldn't unpause while spectating, and this would be a horrible game to miss out on finishing. But wow, this is awesome. This is awesome. Now, I just noticed Blue is making more vills, which is a very important late game thing to remember. Blue wasn't doing that for a long time, and Red has been much better at that. Like Red immediately dropped a new town center here, and I think for the most part has given up on villagers here, but is creating villagers in the middle all the time. And Blue says back, ready, and Red says yep, and now they continue. And these Mangudai want to deny that castle. I think he could see it because the mining camp was there, which gave some vision. And as Blue produced a couple more villagers, Red loses some villagers, and I think the castle will ultimately go up, but you want to kill every single villager that's mining in the middle here. Okay. Right, we have very wholesome situation as the players... I mean, I hope they have a good chat and become friends after this one, too. Both players kind enough to talk to each other. That's what Loey Legends is about. Like to see the mutual respect. And I'm sure they're both freaking exhausted right now. Red's going to TC the north, so Red's definitely thinking about expanding as well. Worried for Blue's production. Every time I look over at Red, it's just skirmishers on the way or halbs are on the way, which is something that I couldn't say about Red an hour ago. I was being sarcastic. Burmese are notorious for having pretty weak skirms because they lack the second and third armor. Having all the attack upgrades is nice, but the thing about skirms is you want armor to counter archers effectively. Oh, man. Okay, this Blue is ready to go. Or, sorry, Red is ready to go for it. All right, into the castle. Red likes to do that. And 7 on gold. Blue cannot say the same. Blue is massing Mangudai. Blue is massing some Trebs. And Blue is massing Hussars, but it's still the same situation where only certain stables are producing. And Red is just not going to give Blue the time. Now, it's 3 Trebs this time. I always talk about going in with 4. But I don't consider 3 trickle trebbing. I feel like 3 is still a solid number. Much better than 1 and 2 we saw before. But it's Mangudai we're talking about. So let's see how Blue does this. Blue's going to take this one. Thank you very much. Take the next one. Thank you very much. And take the next one. Thank you very much. Oh, get it fast. Okay, it's an uphill shot. It might not kill it. It's uphill. If it's even ground, it does. 24 HP. You have to zoom in to see the blue on the HP bar here on Capture Age. Now you could use skirms. To the person who mentioned earlier, can you use skirms? If you were to notice that, then you would want to go in for it. Let's see if Blue actually repairs it, though. Blue really wants to go for a side attack again, and is bringing Mangudai this time, which is smart. But Blue, I really feel like you need the gold. But then again, you have 7k gold, so... Oh, who knows? But yeah, just continuous production from Red. 78 skirms with 16 more on the way, and also 25 halves. This is going to be a clear. Now, in an ideal world in Red's position, this is what happens. You notice this is happening. You immediately go after the castles then, because you know that he's not fully focused on the middle. And then all your new forces go to defend. Because you don't want to send everything you have in the middle to go defend, because then you can't push. You kind of want to do a mix of both. I actually love the Cavalier choice with full upgrades, because it's perfect to get in there and snipe the siege. And now we have 4 Trebs this time. So it was 1 Treb before, then 2, then 3, then 4. Chris Gabriel has been learning in this game. And let's see how quick Blue's reaction is. This is a fight that Blue would probably win because Mangudai are strong. But this castle will go down this time. It doesn't matter how fast Blue reacts. This is what's the beautiful thing about 4 Trebs. Is you might lose the Trebs, but you just want that castle. Now, the next one we'll see. And we'll see what happens here as well. Seems like that Red is going to defend his castles, though. Red's got so many. He's got so much army. 140 army. Blue is 50 army and 41 villagers. But man, oh man, 100 plus skirmishers. This many skirmishers might even counter hussars at this point. Now, they're not all here. That's the problem. And the hussars are doing a great job. What's funny to me is, as Red does defend here, is that Blue has had 15 skirmishers, maybe these as well. Maybe, let's call it 25 skirms just chilling there. Or Red has had that, and Red just didn't even remember. And Red still has been fine. Man, those hussars have done work, though. Military count's down below 90 now for Chris. And still lots of gold for Blue. Still 2 castles for Blue. But I'm beginning to lose hope in Blue's chances here because Blue struggles to get the numbers up immediately after a fight and will struggle with only 2 castles because Mangudai takes so long to produce as is. If somebody has an urge for Exploding Kings, I posted a lobby link on T90's Discord. Hey, what are you doing? Trying to steal viewers away from me. No. We do that after the stream. How dare you? I know you were not trying to be mean, but, you know, maybe don't use my, you know, our wonderful experience here. All good, though. That's cool to see more people trying to play games within the Discord. Blue's going to lose the Hussars here. These are the 5 people who have now left to go play Exploding Kings. Have fun. You're now dead to me. We've got more barracks in the middle from Red. But Red has another trap, and you can tell Blue noticed it. I think Blue went in there to snipe it. And that is going to be... Is it going to be 24 HP again? Aha, it is. That's going to be the end of that castle for Blue. 8k gold in the bank. Not really sure how to spend it. What you could also consider maybe is a bunch of archery ranges and going for cav archers. You know, I think Siege would have been a big help in this game. Mongol Siege Onager is very strong. Even just Onager. And that's something that Blue will have to learn. But let's see if Red can finally close it out. And I wish we had a heat map of this game. Just showing the locations of the players. Because it's just been unreal. Arbalest. I mean, the problem is... You really need something to counter skirms. Right? But then... Red's done a great job adding halbs. So... When you fall off with the numbers, I think it becomes tough to bring it back, and it becomes hard to justify adding archers when there's that many skirms out. And Siege is probably your best bet, but guys, I think Red's going to do this. Blue at 77 pop is slowly losing ground. Might have one last push in him. Monks are just going to get conversions there. Great monk micro, actually. Red's starting to loop in on this side with a couple pointy boys. Red now mixing in some elephants. Just something a bit tankier. Faith! Faith! Oh, Burmese monk techs are 50% off. I still think that's really expensive, though. Because Faith is like 1,500 resources, but that means it's harder for your units to be converted. It takes like twice as long for them to convert your units. Man, Red is a beast. And Blue says, you win. And we'll see if they chatted more. Now that the game's ended, it won't pop up on Capture Age. But wow, what a game. That was an awesome game, man. Again, I wish I had a timeline on that. Like, I started to veer off and tell stories at this stage of the game because I just figured it was over. I didn't think Mongols could be countered. But, you know, Blue dilly-dallied a little bit, tried to go for the side raids instead of just putting the foot on the gas and going for the kill, and Red made the most of it. The side skirms and the castles and the side base here, the most impressive part about this game was when he came back to the middle with a vengeance, because he did everything right. He had the numbers of military, he dropped multiple castles, and then he had the trebs too. So it was like, I'm securing the middle with army. I'm fortifying the middle with a castle. and then I'm trebbing you back, all within the same moment. Instead of, let's take a fight, and then we wait 2 minutes. Let's drop a castle, and then we wait 2 minutes. There was none of that. And so I don't know exactly what point of the game that was. It's going to be so hard for me to find it. Like, look at this. How? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Just look at that mini-map. Here. This moment was so sick from him. Gets the army, gets the siege prepared, and then if you look at how this progresses, it all happens so fast, and Blue doesn't exactly know what to do. And it wasn't easy for Blue to be able to counterattack or anything throughout this. Now, that was also when Blue had decided to be sneaky here and be sneaky here. And did have 8k gold. So, like, you know, the frustrating thing for Blue is you probably should have won this game. But it was still an incredible game. Let me just quickly tab into the game and see if they chatted more after that. You win from Sid, and then Chris, who's orange on this, says, great game, smiley face. Awesome. That was really cool. They didn't chat much, but it's cool to see that Chris gave the great game because it was an awesome game. 658 units killed there for Sid. That is, again, a KD that will not make Sid too happy. Gold collected, Sid had more, but there was more wood and more food collected. You would think, anyways. If before even showing this, you probably would have guessed it because of the amount of halbs and skirms. Awesome. The stone count was also really high there for our red player. If you're curious on how fast these players were, because I am, apparently this is very even, with their military and eco APMs being fairly close. And you never really know if you can trust some of these spikes anyways. But man, I kind of want to look at... I don't care about productivity. I want eco, and I want military population here. Okay, so... the darker line is military, and then the lighter line is eco. Let's actually just eliminate eco for a second. This was when Red decided to queue up skirms and halbs endlessly. Right? Like, you could tell Red was like, I'm not sure. This was actually when Red was losing the middle. I remember Red getting some of these upgrades at that time. Losing the middle. We knew Mongol military would be very strong if it's even numbers or even higher numbers. But then, whoosh. And sadly, I mean, if we could look at resources collected, like, that's also the stage of the game where the gold collected was extremely high for our blue player. Maybe doesn't know about the Mongol siege. Maybe felt like, you know, I've seen it enough times where some players just really enjoy the feeling of dominating somebody. So I think Blue was like, I've got this game and there's no way I lose it. So let's just chill out and have fun. That was probably part of it as well, but wow. Sick, man. That was so cool. Someone says, this is all the elements of a viral T90 vid. Epic game, terrific commentary, but mostly hilarious story that is completely unrelated to the game. Hey. That story wasn't that funny, okay? Brittany. I miss you, Brittany. No, I'm kidding. I'm happy for them, I swear.